Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Kiss Crit Series North America East. We're about to get out on course with the men's and the women's races. And welcoming to the broadcast right along with me, my co-commentator today, Mr. Quentin Lefay. Super late night for him over in France. So super appreciate that he's jumping in with me today. How's it going there, Quentin Lefay? Welcome to the broadcast, bud.
Hi everyone. Well, it's going good, and always very excited to cover this Kiss Icrit series, especially in the North America, where when the race is always exciting. And actually, for the men, we had three different winners for the first four races that we had. So, I mean, I won't spoil who won last week, but definitely an interesting series to watch.
We can actually check out who won last week. So maybe we'll look into that before we jump into the race. Actually, 126 in the pens. Get ready for some racing in about 3 minutes and 45 seconds for the men and in about 5:56 for the women. But let's take a quick look at how things panned out between the men's and the women's races last week in the NA Crit East, presented by CycleOps. But here come the aero power-ups. It's coming very early this time around, actually. And McCabe here, Johnson to the line. They've got to jump on the rest of the field here. Matt Johnson, but here comes McCabe. Now Pierre Vicati here with a little kick. Jumps onto the wheel there, though. And it looks like it's going to be Johnson. Here comes Zimmerman, though. 15 watts per kilogram there. Zimmerman is making it happen, it looks like here. Right to the line. Adam Zimmerman, but no. There's one more coming. Larry Lassell, nope, not going to happen. Zimmerman to the line, but the consistent one, Sagerbrook, able to make it happen as well. I think nipped him at the line for this.
Oh, yeah, that was a good way to use the power-up because the girls in front of her were already digging deep. She used the power-up with her power on top of it and just strung the thing out. Now, if they can come around, I mean, if she can hold on and not allow them to come around, it'll be a fantastic move, but it's going to be tough to pull off now.
Yeah. I mean, so much was put to make this break happen, but it now is 4 up. We see Abbott coming though, pulling along, but I think these races are about to open up their sprint now. As we can see, there is that aero power up coming from Ellen. Now Ellen coming to the line with a solid 6.7 watts per kilogram, as you can see now. And I think Ellen, I think that aero power up has won it for her. Gonna walk away meters by meters. Where's the kick? Here comes Kaylin though, 8 watts per kilogram, but I think it's too late. It's going to be Ellen, followed up by Kaylin Blair, then Laura Fideo there to the line. Moving backwards, where's the sprint? It looks like Beezer just behind a couple other riders there. We're going to have to wait for the final results there from Zwift Power. Lots of super fast racing on the classic course, but Ellen walking away with that late power up. That was a solid move, it looked like. And then also Zimmerman, been looking for a win for a while, I think, for Team Draft. Quite the move there by him. And, you know, I think the results had a little bit of a shakeup last week with him jumping up into third place from that. Pierre Vicati still in the overall from what I can see, but grabbed it from Casey by just 2 points, I think, after that sprint. Is that, unless I'm incorrect there?
Yeah, I mean, Zimmerman was the only one he is the first one to win 2 races in that series. Because before him we had Casey winning the first one, Zimmerman won week 2, and Justin won week 3. So Zimmerman was the first one to win his second race in this series. And week 4 is the first lead change that we had in the whole series that we're covering. Actually, Justin taking the yellow jersey from Casey Sean. So
just by 2 points, though. I mean, it's only 2 points. It's right there, and there's a lot of riders with 6 races at the top there. They're about to get their best of 7 here. 20 seconds to the start here. We'll be covering the start, but in the women's race, real quick. Ellen last week, solid sprint, a late attack by Caitlin Patterson, but it was not able to pull off the W, and Ellen countered, took the win. So back in with the men though, they're about to get off to a start, and it's gonna be the fast and fierce most likely, as we usually see here. We do see Jay McCabe here from the draft, actually, team, and they're starting to use this El Fuega kit, actually, as you see McQuaid here, also from Team Draft, going immediately to the front here. Casey Chum, Team Experimental, trying to hang on. As you can see, Morris is here as well. And looking through, M. Bose is in here, coming from NLC, looking to see if we can find our series leader. Has Casey Chum shown up for the day? And Eric, help me out with the French here. I got another message the other day, actually, that I'm saying it incorrectly still. Am I still that far off?
No, you were not that far off, Loisel. Maybe with a little bit more of a Z in the middle. Maybe that's where they are catching you. But you'll get there. You'll get there. It's not quite the Polish name, so you're not too far.
I'm going to have to come and spend some time in France if I'm going to be a commentator, it seems, for these Canadian riders. I mean, come on now. Here we go. So looking through now, and we're seeing that I'm not actually seeing the name there. There it is. Pierre Ficati, ODZ. We're not going to be seeing him in the usual ODZ kit, actually, this week, though. I would think we're going to probably see him selecting his in-game yellow jersey. And there it is. I am seeing him making his way toward the front there with the yellow Tron bike as well. So good to see him out there donning that. Now, looking to see there is 30 seconds to the start of the women's race. It does look like this group is pretty well established already. A little bit of a break taking place as they make their right-hand turn toward the volcano. In the women's race, though, 42 racers signed up, 20 seconds to go. And current series leader, I do believe it is still Katrina Weiss. I'm just going to double check this, make sure I'm not incorrect. And it is by 7 points over Laura.
Yeah, over Laura Fidao and Caitlin Patterson, who was second last week, if I recall right.
Yeah, that late attack from her. Yep.
Exactly, and well, then we have Kim Beather that we saw with a good sprint at the end, followed by Rogers and Tarquinio. Then yeah, Carissa Min and Beth York for the next race, the next racers, and Christine McCracken and Christine Hsu for the to complete the top 10, basically.
Yeah, and they're taking off from the gates here. Looks like the initial splits are starting right away. And did you see the power-ups thrown right before they went underneath the banner, I think, there, if I'm not incorrect? If they had a power-up they did not want there, perhaps throwing it down and trying to roll the dice a little bit to see if they can grab another one. Another arrow there actually being thrown down, maybe hang on toward the front, but we are seeing already 2, 3, 4 seconds between some of the riders now. Some riders not able to hang on right from the get-go here. KRT here at the back with Parker trying to hang on to the pace. Back up toward the front, we do see Fortier here from Canada. A little bit of fan view jumping around here, but Katrina Weiss there, the series leader, currently hanging tough up toward the front. Not going to get dropped off anytime soon, I don't think, as I think it is most likely going to be a bunch, a group here for a while, main peloton for a while before they actually hit the climbs in and out of the volcano. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the course here, the Volcano Crit course, definitely a course that continually comes at you as the men are leaving the volcano here, as you can see, and it is a course that is almost non-stop effort because of the undulations in and out of the volcano. So just about every minute to 2 minutes or so, you find yourself full gas climbing into or out of the volcano, Quentin.
Exactly, like the lap is very fast. You do arch to arch, about 5 minutes in a peloton in a race. So, and on that course there is 2 noticeable climbs. So you always go up and down and on left and right, and it's a real crit-like race, and it never stops. You do 7 laps, if I recall right, for this race. So you have to be always on your toes and always at the top of the group, and it's one of the hardest races you can imagine. that's where your FTP or your max HR or whatever you measure your training with is going to get to new heights.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to throw down everything you can to hang on with these front groups as they continue to attack every single time they hit these sections out. Of course, we're back in about 79th place here. See Stout now, 4.4 watts per kilogram. We see one of those climbs that you were talking about just now, and they're kicking into those 5-6 watts per kilogram. I think this may be one of the chase groups, perhaps, unless things are a little bit calmer today than usual at the front end of the race, and it looks like that is actually where things are at now. Up toward the front here, we are seeing Zimmerman, winner last week actually in Ecrit, 181 beats per minute, up toward that max heart rate most likely. Justin Pierre-Ficati here, current series leader, 174 beats per minute, and this is the climb, the 2-tier that we're going to see them on for the finish as well as they start their first official lap out on course here. So the 2-tier, you know, Quentin, I think this is a little bit of a tricky sprint because of those 2 tiers. I mean, you have that initial kick. I think it hits up into the 8% gradient maybe going into the volcano. But then you have another one that's about 5%, I think, at its max. That's a little bit more drawn out right to the finish line. Makes it a very difficult timing when it comes to sprint. But most of the time you do see them kick that first tier, tire a few people out, and then you see them actually make the main attack on that second tier into the finish line.
Exactly, and it almost reminds me of what they call the Cavendish sprint with that double kick that you need to have, the first one over the first bump, and then settling into the pace, and then the second one to go and get the win on the arch and the volcano, and yeah, it's definitely a very tricky one because you need to be in the right position after the first bump, and it's never usually where you want to be, and never where you expect to be as well. Because in a road race, you want to be in the first 3, 4, 5 positions, but on a Zwift race, you need to be a little bit more at the back, maybe 2, 3, 4 positions further than you would be in a road race, because the draft works in such a way that once you start going by riders, you are going to go really fast and you're going to come by the whole group. When in a road race, it would take a lot more effort to do that. And but the initial to initiate the passing by, you need to put out more watts because you don't have the steering ability on Zwift. So definitely something to break the road habits on that kind of sprint.
We are seeing a little bit of ribbon, it looks like, coming from G. Leo the Lion, who is actually involved, I believe, second place overall right now in the West Series, actually, which is going to be taking place at 8 p.m. PST, Pacific time. He says, I'll teach you guys how to sprint in the volcano later. We'll see how things go for G. Leo later today. We do have some questions coming through from social media, though. If you do want to get in the broadcast, you can do so. And looking through here, there's a really great question, actually. How many races are there? Richard Swore is asking. And so if you want to ask a question or get involved, let us know who your favorite racer is, who you think is going to win on the day. You can do so, just like Richard, by commenting on Zwift's Facebook post of the live broadcast, or you can tweet at Z Community Live. You can also bring in photos through that as well. So we can bring in photos through the tweets at Z Community Live of your Zwift setup, your live racing setup, whatever it might be. Maybe photos of somebody on a podium or some sort of in real life relation to the broadcast. Bring it on in. We will bring it into the broadcast as well. But to answer your question there, Richard, we have a total of 10 races in the men's and the women's. The racing started on December 7th, actually. We took a break over the holidays. We're back at you January 4th, and now today on the 18th, this is the 5th race. A few races did count from a first start at the series, actually, the two best for those who competed in those. But this is the times and dates for the men's races and the European, the North American editions. This is the women's then start times and dates for both the European and the North American editions. Now, it is going to be the best 7 of the 10 for the racers that count towards the overall. And at the end of the series, the best 10 from Europe and the best 10 from North America will get an invite to 2 different live finals, actually, at a to-be-determined date and place. So this is a battle for a real prize with real effort going to be happening at a LAN event, at a local actual live event, where they'll be set up on a whole bunch of verified trainers, verified weights, and all that stuff in order to get people there. Now, people might ask questions and, well, what about verifying now? Thanks to SwiftPower.com and KISS, who is the race organizer. They make sure all that stays pretty squeaky clean. And they actually made some cool announcements today about 5-minute powers and some strikes that people got to make sure they're not getting against their accounts over at SwiftPower.com, so they don't get DQ'd and relegated. So really great job. Shout out to KISS and all the organization, all the hard work in conjunction with SwiftPower.com to hold everybody accountable to some awesome, good rules to keep the racing awesome. So looking through here, though, the men starting out their started their 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go. Looks pretty Grupo Compacto at this point. I haven't seen any serious attacks. Not too many orange numbers at the front here. Maybe a little calmer than usual in the NA racing here this week, Quentin. Maybe as things get closer to when it really matters, looking at the points, they're going to go, well, maybe not so many chips on the table early on, not gambling quite as much during the race until it really matters.
Yeah, I think what happened is that the last week something really interesting changed in that series, in the fact that Justin Purificati is now the leader for ODZ, and before that ODZ was the main team to animate the race with Beck and Johnson, Tisbley, and now they have a yellow jersey to defend, so they won't be the one attacking. So now the peloton has to find another team, another group of people, other riders to attack, to animate the race. And that's what we're seeing right now. Nobody wants to take that responsibility because, well, there is a draft team, but as the name suggests, they're drafting. So they won't be the ones attacking, or at least not right now. And nobody really wants to test if ODZ can respond at the moment.
Yeah, it's a great point, actually, that maybe the change-up of the yellow jersey has actually made a little bit of a change-up of who's going to make defenses where of the jersey, actually, because now ODZ just has to protect their leader at this point and then try and grab some more points for some of the other riders, though, maybe, who they want to get into the final. Now, in the women's race, though, we do see them about, it looks like 10-11 minutes in to their race. Last week's winner, Ellen Tarquino, here killing it, looks like, in this league group, sitting about 11th, 10th place so far. Making the way to the front, though, it is going to be Webster from that team ODZ now, as they're about to kick into the climb here. Blair is there as well. Odin, it looks like McCracken now, and who else is going to go with them? Do we see the series leader still in there? Yes, we do. Katrina Weiss sitting pretty right in the middle of that pack at this point, not letting them go anywhere. Now making the way to the front, though, it is going to be Abbott, though, from CIS Cycling now, maybe doing a little bit of work for her teammate there, trying to break things apart. 182 B Spirit looks like maybe some fade climbing coming from Gonthier now up to the front, though, it looks like, with that feather power up, and I think perhaps using that during the steepest part of the climb was smart. Maybe looking for an arrow power up, always the one that you want in the sprints, I think, Quentin, as these women are making their way toward the start, or toward the lap banner. They're most likely thinking about whether or not they're going to be getting another arrow power up to save up for the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly. The first part of this climb is maybe the best one to use that feather, because it's the part when you can put the most pressure on the other riders to force them to stay in draft. And well, the other part is pretty quick. So apart from the sprint, you it's over really fast, so you don't really have time to make the most of your power ups, especially if it's a feather. So definitely a good move there to put a little bit of pressure on the CIS team that have been really working together to keep the yellow jersey on the shoulders of Katrina Wise. And definitely good to see some teamwork out there, because that's what teams are about. You always wonder, either on the road or on Zwift, what is a team going to bring me? And that's a very good example of what it's going to bring you, because you have something to fight for as a group, and that's one of the best thing in cycling and in Zwift. You have to it gets the group closer together, and I think they have had a very good time defending that yellow jersey, and so far they've been very successful doing it.
That's a really good point, actually, here as well. With CIS, they're bringing a lot of talent to the group here with Abbott and Katrina so far, and it does look like there is one other rider actually right along with her. Will be Russell there too. So definitely some defense there with the teams out on course, looking to make sure that Katrina stays in that jersey. Now, it is getting close here, though, with the overalls. 7 points separating her and Laura. Laura only with 5 races out there. Now, Katrina does have one more race to up her overall score, and then from there on, she will be dropping her scores that are her worst scores from 7 races through 10. So currently sitting with 6 races and 87 points. Laura Fideo there with 80 points and 5 races. Caitlin Patterson sitting in 3rd place overall with 74 points. Have we seen Caitlin out on course this week, or is she taking a week off, though? Looking through the riders nearby here, I'm seeing Ellen here this week. The winner last week, Caitlin 2nd, but I'm not seeing Caitlin out on course right now. Maybe taking a week off. Now she's got plenty of time to get all.
Bad.
What? Say that again.
Who are you gonna pick for your favorite today if your mountain biker isn't here?
Back off. Yeah, and being the local super fast mountain biker, I have not been. I have been choosing Caitlin, that's for sure. And you know, in the races so far, she hasn't been able to pull it off, though, it looks like, since the restart of the series, actually. So
she won the
first week.
She won week number 1.
She won week number 1. All right, so this guy's got a photographic memory or something. But on the on the races, so she won week number 1. And did I make? I might not even made that prediction though that week. So maybe the curse is real.
No.
We're only on NA.
Yeah, you started
East.
making prediction after that week.
So yeah, that's probably what took place there. So for some reason, we just lost the race there momentarily for the women's. We'll see if we can log back in and grab the racers in the women's race in just a moment. Hopefully Lindsay's account does follow at least one or two of them. But it looks like in the men's race, things are heating up in the volcano a little bit here, as we do have Webb, it looks like, McCandles here, Gerard, as well as Gardner, Bellew, and Charles up toward the front. A few names I'm unfamiliar with, actually, there. Maybe some new riders to the peloton here who are making themselves known up toward the front here. Fremont there as well, but those are actually lap riders just a little ways up from them. But Wenzel now as well. I see flyers there. Appreciate the name in game there. Wenzel, Vanilla, as well as Zankov. out of Canada. Lots of new names actually up to the front. We'll see if they hang on though through the duration of the race and make themselves known through the finish line though. See if they can get some top spots, as I'm not seeing too many of those names at the front end of the overall series right now. So interesting to see so many new riders actually in the series and jumping into the race.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you jump in the series at race number 5, with the way the rankings work, you still have a shot to that top 10. That to that top 5 actually, because it's 5 for each series, East and West. But you still have a shot at the qualifying place. Given the fact that, well, if you manage to perform, because you will have to score in 6 races what the others have 7 to do so, but it's still it's not too late to jump in, and well, it's never too late to jump in and have a good time. But yeah, they all have the qualification in mind at that point of the series.
Yeah, I think that definitely is what they are thinking. Well, it's a possibility is what I'm getting at with getting to a top 5, though, in the NA series. It might be a little bit different than with Europe. With Europe, one race, top 10 with the men and the women. In Europe, trying to hit a top 5 and not having 7 races, it's going to be way more competitive and way more difficult. You'll have to jump in and have nothing but 20-point races. Just walk away with a lot of these in order to pull that off.
Yeah, it's definitely a very difficult task, but I mean, you never know.
Somebody could do it.
6 races?
I'm not saying they couldn't. Somebody could. 6 times 2, 120. You can make it happen. I mean, a lot of racers don't even have close to that in in the standings right now within the top 5.
Yeah. I mean, it's still up for grabs. We won't say the same thing next week because it won't be that true. But yeah, as of right now, it's still very open, and the yellow jersey should watch out for anyone pretty much now, and especially the 2 guys behind him. That I think we saw them on course. I'm not sure I saw Casey today. I saw him warm up. Yeah, he is in the race. So definitely going to be a matter of spot at the end, because 2 races over the second one, 2 points over number 2, and 4 points over number 3. Definitely, every point counts if you want to grab that yellow jersey.
Very, very close racing right now. 102, 100, Adam Zimmerman 98, Big E 90, Eric Lozelle there at 88. Spencer Segerbrook, super consistent, sitting at that 75 points. But the highest ranked rider, though, when it comes to average scoring on each race that he does, with an 18.8 on average for those 4 races, though. Solid racing so far coming from Segerbrook. And it'll be interesting to see and watch him this week. Now, is Segerbrook out there today? That's the question. I do believe you saw him early on, actually, and most likely find him up toward the front end of the pack, usually conserving some energy, as I think he's always been that consistent sprinter, and maybe not too many attacks coming from him.
Exactly, and we're not seeing too many attacks as of right now. And as we were saying earlier in the Europe edition, maybe we need some kind of primes at the arch. But they might not have scones. But
need some scones.
Yeah,
maybe just get them some pizza.
A couple of donuts.
What are we donuts? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, 3, 2, and 1 donuts every 2 laps, and you're gonna have some animated race. You're gonna have some hard on attacks, going after the donuts, and just basic racing.
We got some other comments coming through from social media here. I am seeing Adam Michael, hey Adam, thanks for having you in the broadcast. Says, is the screen format changed now on Facebook for viewing? If you are having any trouble viewing over at Facebook, I highly suggest you head on over to our Twitch channel. It is twitch.tv Zwift Community, twitch.tv/Zwift Community Live. Hit that follow button over there. And actually, probably one of the best places for viewing, as it is a live streaming platform, very consistent. You can get HD over there, and there's an entire chat over there interacting with each other. And if you follow over there, you will get push notifications every single time Zwift Community Live goes live. If you're on Facebook, it's all dependent on an algorithm as to whether or not all your buddies are watching, or you tune in and you know where to go at the right times. But highly suggest head on over to live streaming platforms. We are also always live on YouTube, and you can also always catch the VODs over there as well. Let's check out some more of these comments over on Facebook. As they do come in, though, or over at Twitch, we'll be watching. I believe I appreciate the comment there, Border Pilot, as he says Twitch chat is where it's at, and we are seeing Hugh Bikes also saying Twitch is seamless. I think Hugh was also saying go Britt Mason though in the chat, as well as over at the Facebook chat, actually. So, and we are seeing Danielle Gonthier also saying go Marie Ellen, Annie as well, cheering Marie on as well. So Marie Gonthier's got, it looks like, a whole lot of cheering crowd going on over at the viewership on Facebook, as well as in Twitch now. Donut Watts are real, Pierre Ficati is saying. It looks like Pierre Ficati can chat and have a heart rate of about 150 beats per minute, maybe, or 160, 170 beats per minute, though. Pierre Ficati here, current series leader, letting us know how he's fueling the race today. So let's start hearing your predictions, though, as the race is about halfway over, little more than halfway over at this point. And I'd love to hear from chat. Who's going to win today? Draft took it last week. Pierre Ficati grabbed the overall, though. Katrina Weiss on the defense has been looking for a good sprint still for a little while, so maybe Katrina looking for that W out there. Ellen with that sprint, though, last week was able to pull it off. You know, what are you thinking here, Quentin? Have you anybody out here, as we're heading into the last 10K for the men, about the last 12 or so for the women, anybody really shining out there today, or anybody that's been on your mind that's you think is hungry for a W, that's been looking for one for a while?
Well, you know, talking about hungry for a W, I would say I would have to dig up some dirt on Justin, because as you might remember, he was in Paris at the last TVR World Cup, and he actually chose a hotel room, or was he? I think it was a B&B.
Oh boy, what is this story now? What is this story?
It was right in front of a bakery. So if someone's hungry for something, that's Justin.
Okay, so the prediction is Justin, cause donuts. Okay, I got it. So yeah. You guys are nuts, is what you are. So donuts are gonna make it real here. It sounds like for Pierre Ficati. Brought him all the way back from France. It sounds like we're hearing from Border Pilot. He says Big E is going to be taking the W today. We see Q-Man saying it's going to be Sega Man, the Sonic Segabruck, for the win, who's been taking a lot of second places and is the most consistent rider so far. You know, he could get to the final just staying consistent. But we are hearing from Q-Man saying that it's going to be Segabruck. G. Leo, the Lions out there saying, duh, it's going to be Zimmerman again, team draft. So interesting to see all of the difference here between them. Now I have a feeling there are a few teammates out there with some favorites, I would think. So always good to see the team camaraderie out there with the predictions there. And looking through a few more of the comments there, and if there are any more, some more cheering there for M. Bose from NLC, hammering away. C. Shum will win with another epic sprint like he did on Tuesday. Johnson Brown's letting us know from the from Facebook chat, actually. So thanks a lot for the chat there coming from Johnson. Another prediction there coming on in. So as the men are making their way downhill, they're going to start there. I believe it'll be from here on the next lap, maybe one, maybe two to go. I have to take a double check as they do make their way through, but they're probably going to be an attack on this next section uphill. I would think maybe ODZ setting something up here with Chris Beck making his way to the front. And where's Chris Beck actually in the overall is my question. He had some solid results early on, and he's currently 8th place overall. He's going to need a couple of solid results, though, to make his way in that top 5. Or do you think he's just working for Justin, Quentin?
Well, it's difficult to tell at this point because Chris is a very good TT specialist. He can throw down some watts for a long time and some impressive watts. But the sprint is something else. But the thing is, you only need 1 or 2 good results to put you up there. So maybe the second part of the Kiss Crit series in the East will be about Chris now that Justin is up there. So definitely want to watch for maybe not this week, but the second half. Well, they still have Matt Johnson as well, who is a little bit further down with 4 races, sitting in place number 14 right now with 36 points. But they have 3 guys who can be contenders, and they will try to have as many guys.
Right there, Quentin. Quentin Beck is now going off the front, like you were just saying there. They got 3 guys, and I think he's trying to push the pace a little bit. Well, Pierre Ficati never made his way in front of Beck once there, as you can see. I think he may be being the workhorse here with 60 points, nothing within a top 3 for any of his results so far. He is a super strong mountain biker, can throw down big watts for a while, actually, but maybe not the same type of sprinters we're seeing from Pierre Ficati, for some of these results. Matt Johnson as well is out there, as you were saying. I think they got it in mind to throw Pierre Ficati into a top 5 situation for the rest of, or at least, actually they're probably thinking about defending the jersey all the way through the end, but at the same time, maybe be able to grab a few spots up toward the front. It would be pretty cool to see ODZ to have 5, have 2 or 3 in the top 5 actually to the finish. But draft is out there also in force. I saw at least 3. McQuaid, we've got Zimmerman out there as well. So going to be watching out for draft on the day to maybe putting some work in. McQuaid making his way to the front now. And where is this man Zimmerman as he is looking for another W out there? And if he gets a W, he's going to make his way maybe into a threatening position actually to try and take down that jersey. Only 4 points, actually. Look at this. Let's have a conversation about that. As they go into their final couple of laps here, this is going to get really interesting in the overalls for for that jersey. Casey, 2 points. All he's got to do is take Pierre Ficati by 2 places. That's it. And he's got the jersey back, right? I mean, same thing, though, with Zimmerman. He wants that jersey. He takes Pierre Ficati by 3 places. It's his. So it's going to be very crucial that Pierre Ficati is in the top 3 position at that finish line, or it's most likely that he's probably going to find himself out of that jersey. Even with Big E and Eric LaSalle out there, I think that they're in the top 4 and 5. They're a little further off, but if Pierre Ficati is outside of the top 8, 10, and they get a win, that jersey's gone. So it's close for that thing at this point.
Yeah, it's very close, and I would go even further than you on that point. Is that Justin has to stay in the will of Casey, basically to stay in the yellow jersey. He has to stay on Casey's will, and just expect him to follow Zimmerman, as they are so close in the GC. And in the sprint, he just has to follow them to avoid losing. And as he's going to do that, he's going to give himself the ability and the possibility to pass them at the finish line and convert his advantage. But that's one way to strategize the finish lines, as we now see Segelbrook trying to shake things out a little bit.
That's a little different, actually. Mr. Consistent here making his way to the front, maybe just making sure he's in a good position to get some rest as they make their way downhill here. Now, we do have a couple more predictions coming in from the Facebook chat here now, as we've got Mark Fless saying that it's going to be Tony Dump Truck Manzella out there for the win. I love the nickname there. Now we're also seeing, it looks like Danielle Gonthier. We know who Danielle's cheering for, as the last name Gonthier is coming in there with the bikes and the medals coming on through. Then we do have LaSalle for the win coming from Jean-Philippe Vin. And then it's got Pamela Bray, Makarek saying Britt for the win out there as well. Look at all those Tron bikes. Dan Rose is saying W is for Weiss. Corbett is letting us know. So the prediction there for Katrina. And then we do have Jean also saying Lemire or LaSalle. Lemire in a break 5 cam to go. LaSalle for the sprint from Cannondale for I out on course today. So great predictions there. Thanks a lot for all of them. We'll keep on coming. We'll keep them coming through as we head into the final here, as these boys are about to make their way toward the climb. And one more time around the course here, as we do have Wenzel here, Postmel, as well as Manzella is out there. There's one of the predictions, actually. Babish is here still. Now back up toward the front. Zimmerman, 6.8 watts per kilogram now. Here comes McCabe now, 9.2. And then we got Above and Beyond here. I like it. Loving the name there. Above and Beyond Cancer. Loving that fight against Cancer on road there. Good to see. And we'll be back here slowing on down. Looks like it's a fade climb. Pierre Ficati series leader, as you were saying, his job out there today, just to follow the wheels and maybe be able to take advantage of those who are going to try and take that jersey from him today.
Exactly. And one name that we maybe not talked enough about is that Bobish Nice is in the race. And he's actually one of the zone leader in the CVR World Cup League. I think it's zone B that he leads, but he won a couple of races already, and he might be one of the outsiders, as I don't think he has raced a lot of times in the Kiss Ecrit series, but he won a lot of races lately, and he might be a wild card today.
We'll be watching out for that rider for sure. Bobish out there. Now, he can't take points for the series toward his own standings, but unless he lives in the USA, that'd be the only thing. If he does live here, or not in the USA, North Americas, excuse me, but if he lives in the North Americas, then he could take points if that's just his identification, his flag as identifying his home country, but lives in North America. My assumption is that he is in the location of where his flag is at, though. Now, let's get back in with the women's race here before we head into the last half lap with the men. We're seeing a little bit of chat here coming through on the women's race, but it looks like Westra here up to the front. Baru is there as well. Gonthier, who has a huge, it looks like, fan base out there watching in the viewership right now. 3.6 watts per 176 beats per minute. Katrina Weiss, series leader here, sitting smart on the wheel here, but 180 beats per minute as they make their way into, I believe it's maybe 2 laps to go. Let's double check the lap counter here. 5.2 watts per kilogram, 180 beats per minute. That is over threshold, I think, for her. So she is really pushing herself to hang on to the wheels here. And it will be 2 to go as they make their way on through here. Britt Mason here, who also has a large fan base watching right now, cheering her on. 3.8 watts per kilogram, 181 beats per minute. Now we do see Shu here from Team Fearless here. Webster from ODZ up toward the front, 188. All these heart rates way over threshold. They are absolutely working out there right now, Quentin. It looks like it's not a look at each other type race, but more of a race of attrition. Who can just hang on all the way through till the end?
Yeah, it's a mental race, just throwing down every lap and trying to wear out the other riders, trying to make the most of every difficulty that the course offers you. and in the end, they won't let any place to chance or anything. They want to have the best rider win this one, and that's what they're working for.
There's a 15 still in the group, though. 15 still in the group. It's going to be very difficult to break things apart actually out there today with that many, but we'll see how that ends up playing out. Looking for the front end of the men's races to make their way into the final. We are having a couple of dropouts here and there. I'm really hoping that we can stay with it. I apologize that we're not able to bring it into view just yet. If I can find a rider with a consistent connection right now, I will be able to stay with them. I'm hoping Jay McCabe here from Draft will stay on screen. They're about to make their way into the final climb here. We're about to see all of the aero power-ups, I would think, in the world. Looks like Meyer's staying pretty consistent here for us. And so as he makes his way into the climb here, we are seeing McQuaid now launch an attack in 8.6 watts per kilogram with an aero power-up. This is from way out. I mean, this is like with almost a K to go, actually. And his teammate Zimmerman may be going to get a ride because of this. Above and beyond now, hanging onto the wheel there, McQuaid. Bobish now going right on by as well. We've got FanView going a little wacky at this point. Hopefully we stay on as they make their way to the finish line. Otherwise, we'll just have to rely on zwippower.com. But above and beyond, 8.2 watts per kilogram, as you can see here, 104 RPM, 180 beats per minute. Now here goes Schwartz though, and Webb. The orange numbers are going like crazy. Here comes Low South Cannondale 4i kicking up toward the front of the race. We can't quite make sense just yet. Hopefully everybody stays on the course for us though, please. Webb here, 8.2 watts per kilogram up toward the front. Where is the series leader? I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it for you here. Here goes Pierre Ficati. I think it is going to be Pierre Ficati actually off the front as they make their way to the line. I think it's Pierre Ficati, and no, Zimmerman, Pierre Ficati, Shum, just barely able to grab it for you guys and gals as they crossed the line. I believe that's what it was, unless there was somebody else who had disappeared from fan view for us there, but looks like it was series leader. We were just barely able to get the finish, and then looks like the volcano says you're going up top. So there we go for the men's
we
finish.
Just had the results coming in on Swift Power, and indeed Zimmerman taking his third win in 5 races, just before Yannick Lemire from Team QC.
Okay, so that was the one that was missing from the course. Okay.
Exactly, Justin Purificat in 3rd, Casey Shum 4th, and Spencer Segerbrook taking 5th place, and then followed Bobish, Loisel, Bose, Matt Johnson, and Big E. So a lot of consistent riders in that top 10. A lot of names that we see quite often in these races.
That was quite the effort from Pierre Ficati. Do we have a tie? I think we have a tie.
No, we don't.
No,
Zimmerman had 4 points. Zimmerman was 4 points behind. So Purificati keeps his leader's jersey with 2 points over Zimmerman and 3 over Casey Shum.
Gotcha. So just holds on with that sprint. He followed it up. Solid result there. Zimmerman, though, sneaking up little by little on that first place, though. He's going to have to watch out for him. Very consistent there. Now, Segerbrook, though, what was his, how did Segerbrook end up? Because I've been keeping an eye on him as he has been very consistent all the way through all of the races so far.
Yeah, he took 5th place, right, maybe almost tied with Casey Shum, actually.
Okay, so right there at the line. We'll have to see how it ends up in the official results. But Segerbrook there, a little ways outside of where he's been finishing. He's been very consistent with a lot of second places, so a little bit of a change up there for Segerbrook there as they make their way across the line today. So looking through, we're going to see if we do have the results updated as well. As soon as they do update in the main results for the officials results, we will then also have, I believe, the overall standings updated right along with it, though. But now back into the racing for the women. They're, I believe, onto their final lap out there now. And we do have Webster leading things out right along with Ellen now, last week's winner. And it looks like Katrina Weiss still hanging tough in there. 180 beats per minute still, though. 3.1 watts per kilogram, 3.2 now. And falling off a little bit here. It is about 5 meters, actually. And now she jumps right back in. A little bit of a kick up and out of saddle, most likely over at the Weiss household. And I have a feeling that fan is turned on high. They got an industrial sized fan in the house to keep her cool, as it's definitely heating up here in this final lap.
Yeah, it's definitely a necessity to have some kind of fun when you do some racing on Zwift, and even if it's just riding, you need to have some fun to cool you down, because well, you could lose a lot of watts if you don't have that cooling down, especially when it gets hot. And well, the volcano, contrary to beliefs, doesn't add any degrees to your outside temperature, but racing on it can get quite hot.
Looking through here, some more of the chat that's coming on through. Actually, some more chat for Britt Mason. Lots of Britt Mason fans out in the viewership today. So we'll see if Britt can pull off a W here today. Her past results here, as I'm looking through the series real quickly, and let's see where this is standing. She's got 2 races. Very consistent, though. Her rank is 19 on average. 2 races. Rank is 19. There's 5 races left to go, if I'm not incorrect there, right? So still 5 to go.
Yeah.
And so she's going to get a total of 7. If she stays consistent like that, she's looking at 1st or 2nd place overall. She's the most consistent rider, actually, besides Ellen. Ellen might have a run for her money tonight, as Britt Mason is out on course.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you count this race, it's still 6 to go for her, so she will even have a chance to have 1 result dropped from a total. So definitely one to watch for. But I mean, it will be tactical when you have 15 racers coming into the finish line, coming into the finish sprint. It's going to be all tactics, and we saw that 2 weeks ago. And I think it was I can't recall who won. I'm gonna chill a little bit here, trying to see who won 2 weeks ago. But I think it was Britt who won here 2 weeks ago. Actually, the last time we raced on the volcano,
for sure. Lauren Linkhouse also saying, "Let's go, Britt." Glenn Gibson. So, all right, my prediction. I get a prediction, and I'm going to go with Britt. I'm going with the popular choice out there today. What's your pick out there? What's the pick coming from Mr. Quentin LeFay as they're heading in to the final K here, and there's 15 riders, lots to choose from. Let's hear it from chat as well. Cheer on your favorite rider in the chat. Let's hear it. Who is going to win the women's final sprint today with just a K to go?
Well, the pick will be Ellen Taquino, because 2 weeks ago on that course, she was a little bit focused on Caitlin Patterson for the sprint, and she didn't see Britt coming from behind her. But she knows how to play this sprint. She knows who to follow and how to do it. And this time she won't be surprised. So I'm going with Ellen here.
All right, you heard it from Quentin there. No bias whatsoever there from Quentin. Ellen Taquino pick there coming on through now. And Ellen now making her way to the front. Smart positioning, it looks like here, but a little early with 5.2 watts per kilogram, but not too much wasted. It looks like who's going to have those power-ups, though, is going to be the question. Now we've got first one to the front, though. It is going to be Auden, I believe, now. And Tarquino, though, here she goes. Very early orange numbers coming from her as as she starts to kick here, but it's going to be Webster there as well up toward the front. Now Laura Fideo, though, making herself known up toward the front of this race. And is there actually a gap already now between them? Laura now on the front there, 4.8 watts per kilogram, holding tough though, but Ellen right on that wheel, 5.9 watts per kilogram. Where's the aero power up? There it is, throws it down and drinks the bottle. No big deal whatsoever for Ellen as her avatar grabs a water bottle and takes a drink in the middle of the sprint. But here comes Borbu now out of nowhere. Who is this rider? Absolutely killing it. But Britt Mason with 9 watts per kilogram, but it's very late. It might be too late to the line, but Mason out of nowhere. It's going to be Britt Mason to the line. Takes the W. What an effort. Back and forth, over and over again. And Ellen, I think, faded, went early, first one, but I think ended up getting nabbed by 2 riders. We'll take a look at the replay real quick so we get it right, though, as I believe it was Ellen who did end up in third there. Let's go and take a quick little look at the replay as they, and that's not even close to the replay that we're looking for whatsoever. There it is. So now as they make their way to the line, Ellen with that jump there, here comes Barbu now to the line there, and 7.4 watts per kilogram coming from her. Then Blair sitting right on Ellen's wheel as the Canadian rider makes her way to the front there. Blair now hanging on, but Mason there is that 10 watts per kilogram as she makes her way through the pack. And as she does so, takes the W. Ellen, it looks like, just hangs on to the line just ahead of Laura. Then it would be Blair. But what to double check, as there was some swapping right at the line there that might have changed things up just a little bit. But what an effort there from the women in that last K. Lots of change up, lots of last second sprints. That second kick seems to be the one that really matters, Quinn.
Exactly. The last kick is the one you want to have. And I think what happened is that Ellen here got a little bit maybe overconfident, or maybe she was planning to take advantage of her TT abilities rather than her sprint. And Britt was confident in her ability to sprint. And one thing that's interesting to see is where Laura Fideo and Katrina Weiss end up, because there was 7 points between the two at the beginning of the race. And from what I can see on Zwift Power, it says Katrina Weiss in 12th position and Laura Fideo in 2nd. So we could have a change-up for the leader's jersey.
I would suspect so. But also Ellen, now in the overalls here, Ellen Turquino here, I am seeing in these overalls with 58 points and with another solid result. She's going to jump up pretty high in the standings as well, as she's most likely going to be jumping actually into third place overall. Laura maybe into first, I think, at this place. And then Katrina, I think, perhaps sitting in second, just holding off Ellen maybe. And Caitlin Patterson right in there as well, maybe right around third or fourth place. We'll have to wait for the updates on the results there, but that was such an amazing sprint there. Super impressed there actually with that sprint between all the women today, as it was so close, lots of back and forth, huge watts being thrown down actually, and very tactical right to the end, I would think, Quinton. I mean, very, very tactical.
Exactly. That's what we announced earlier. It was going to be a tactical sprint because with 15 riders coming into the last kilometer, it's going to be tactical. It's going to be who's got the nerves to stay calm, to wait for the last 200 or 300 meters, and maybe who wants to throw their chips on the table early to try to go for the 1K effort. But more often than not, the one waiting for the longest time is the one that comes up on top. So, I mean, it was a very good sprint and very well timed by Britt Mason today.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about the sprint here, I think a lot of these women were super tired though too. Katrina actually, Carissa Min is in the chat right now, who just got done racing in the race here, and she's saying that Nathan was right. Battle of attrition, no big attacks, but it was never calm. It was just continual, nonstop, high pace all the way to the finish line. I think a lot of not matches necessarily burned, just one huge engine was going the entire time for all the women. As you saw those heart rates all into the 180s, the 190s, 200s even for some of them who beat a little higher throughout the entirety of the race. They threw everything out on course continually, it looked like, but the big, who had the final attack at the right time, it seemed to be the most important thing in that race today.
Exactly. That's what we saw on all, I want to say all day, but all race in this case. And you have to keep going, and when you're in that position, it's very hard because you never know what the other one is up to. You never know what they where they're at. You don't know what surface they got on. Something you can see on the road if the other one is suffering, but on Zwift you don't see that. You just see the avatar, and they always look so easy and so calm, and that can be frustrating. Like looking at the other one's avatar and just seeing this blank face, just showing nothing, the poker face all day, and that can get on your mind, and it becomes a game of who can hold on in their mind for the longest time.
We do see some congratulations coming through from the racers actually over at the Twitch chat. Always cool to see. Adam Zim, winner actually of the race, congratulating Carissa on her race, and he says that the men's race felt the same actually, just fast all the way through. Let's take another look at the men's finish here. Quentin, you got the results? You want to read out maybe at least the top 10 as we take a look real quick at the replay here?
Yeah, the top 10 is like we said earlier. So Zimmerman taking the win for Team Draft. Yannick Lemire from Canada and Team QC taking second place. Then it's Purificati from Team ODZ completing the podium. And then we have Casey Shum from Team Experimental and Spencer Segerbrook, taking fifth place. And then we have Eric Rosell from Cannondale 4i. 6, 7 Bobish Nice with that Romanian flag in 7th place. Nice to see 7 in 7th place. Michele Bose 8th place, Matt Johnson taking 9th, and Big E completing the top 10.
Nice result there for all of them. And Zimmerman with that solid result, moving his way up in the series overall here. Let's see if we do have an update for the series. Not yet, I don't believe. So it looks like we have to wait.
Yet.
Yeah, maybe just have to wait.
Not just yet, but by the look of things, we should have Justin Purificati with 120 points, just in front of Zimmerman, who has 118 points. And Casey Shum should have 117 points. So still very tight at the top. And in 4th place, we still should have a battle between Big E and Rosell. And I think Rosell took the 4th place over from Big E, who is now 5th in the rankings. And then we have Segerbrook, and I think Beck might jump one spot, and then it's a little bit more spread out over the points.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So a little bit more spread out at the lower end, but that is your top 5 to 6 there. The women's, it looks like we will have a new series leader, I believe, with Laura Fadeo, barring anything different in the official results. Let's take a look real quick. Quick little look over at the chat here, see if we have any more integration going on from the social of the medias here. Alan Lowe saying more watts than I could put out there. Twice as many watts as I could do, Jed Walker says as well. Britt, nice from Glad Glenn Gibson. And so how are power and weights checked? ZwiftPower.com does all of that. Frederick, you can go on over to ZwiftPower.com and see all of the rules as well as the results. Also, more information can be found on the link in the Facebook post on that. There are plenty of checks and balances in place put by KISS, the race organizers, in order to make sure that the powers numbers are within percentage limits that they are comfortable with, as well as people's weights are correct. They are all over that, actually, when it comes to checking people through verifications. So no need to worry there whatsoever. So looking through, time for more sprints. Lots of great chat here. Appreciate everybody's chat coming on through. Checking the Twitch chat one last time before we get going. A lot of thanks to you guys. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out for the broadcast. Next up, we are going to have Zwift Community Chat tomorrow. Remember, everybody, Saturday is Zwift Quest Day out on Zwift. So definitely want to check that out. Let's go ahead and show you what that's all about. Now, tomorrow we are going to have ZCL Community Chat. We're going to be getting into Zwift Quest. Johnny Noblet's going to be joining us, the creator of Zwift Quest. That'll be at 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, and 12 p.m. PST. So make sure to tune in for that tomorrow on Zwift Community Live. If you want to know what time we do go live, go ahead and give us a follow on Twitch. Easiest way to get a push notification anytime we go live. It will push notify to your Zwift mobile app, or not Zwift mobile app, your Twitch mobile app and your Twitch desktop app, or send you an email anytime that we do go live. So here's a little bit about Zwift Quest number 3. Zwift Quest number 3 taking place over the weekend. It's going to be awesome. We are going to be talking all about it. And if you're wondering what that's about, we'll answer all your questions tomorrow during Zwift Community Live Chat. If you can't be there for the live broadcast, our VODs are always available on our Twitch channel as well as on our YouTube channel, Zwift Community Live, both on YouTube as well as on Twitch. Quentin, always fast and furious. Not quite as many attacks this week, but didn't disappoint in the sprints.
Exactly. It was always fast all the way from start to finish. And that's one way to race the crit as well. You can have some digs, some attacks, or you can have a really steady and fast race all the way to the finish line. And I mean, both style of racing are exciting in themselves. And well, we're just midway through the series, and already we've had some very different types of action, and we could see even other different styles in the next 5 races. So definitely a lot of things to look forward to.
For sure, like lots of different styles, very cool. And we got a lot more comments actually coming through. Rachel Blair saying hard racing, but lots of fun. Thanks for the great race, ladies. Good to see Rachel in the comments. Great job out there. Thanks for the ride on, Nathan Garrett from Matt Moan. That hurt, but oh, so good, Matt. Good to see you in the broadcast. Good to see you out there racing as well. Good to see all the racers hanging out in the broadcast and bringing in the comments. Always cool to see them here as well. So, all right, looks like that'll be it from us, Quentin. Great job to all the racers, eh? They did a great job out there today. And nice job to you as well, Quentin. I appreciate you hanging out and being a part of the broadcast here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and yeah, a big old ride on to all the racers. They earned it today.
For sure. As always, couldn't do without them. And right on to all the racers. We'll be back tomorrow for Zwift Community Chat with Zwift Quest, and then we'll do it all again next week. We'll be back next week for more crit racing. Again, don't forget the West is happening in about a little under 2 hours from now. We will not be broadcasting that here on Zwift Community Live. The community does. You can find Twitch channels with that live on Twitch, actually. I think Johnny Rocket's been doing it. G. Leo has definitely been broadcasting it. I think Casey Shum has been broadcasting it. There's a lot of community channels popping up over on Twitch. If you go over to twitch.tv/Zwift Community Live, you'll notice that we're streaming under a certain game, which is Zwift. If you click on that game, you'll actually find, or you just search Zwift as a game, you'll find all those people who have been broadcasting Zwift, actually, if you look at past videos or who's live right now. So during the West Series, we leave it open as a community streaming thing, and people should go that want to watch that can watch live racing, or maybe other commentators who are doing their own commentary of the race over on Twitch. Make sure to go check that out. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. And as always, ride on.